Hi, today we're making baci di ricotta, which is literally ricotta kisses, and I'm making it gluten-free, and they're going to be like little Zeppolles or donut holes. What first we need to do is measure 1 cup of ricotta. You can use whole milk or part skim, but I think for this application whole milk would be preferable. And you can also use the the dairy-free kind, such as Tofutti brand. And for this, we need 1 cup. And this is a very quick and easy dough that you can just throw together. And I'm making it in honor of Hanukkah, where we eat fried foods. Now this is an Italian dish, but if you look into the cuisines of both traditional Jewish cooking and Italian cooking, there's lots of crossover, like mandelbrot and biscotti, and all the various fried foods, tegel, tagliatelle, etc. I mean the fried tagliatelle. Okay, and then we're going to add 2 large eggs. And whisk that in. Now this is from a website called manjamanja.com, and I am making it gluten-free. And as I mentioned, you can also make it dairy-free. Just whisk. And then we're going to add to this mixture a 1/2 cup of gluten-free flour with xanthan gum. So really any cup for cup. Lately I've been using Bob's Red Mill, and it works really well. So this is just a 1/2 cup. Remember, you cannot overwork gluten-free flour, so you don't have to worry about it getting gummy. And into that, I'm going to use 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. Oops. And I like this baking powder because it has that lip that you can measure and scrape. That you can scrape your measuring spoon. Get a nice even measure. And a pinch of salt. Now a pinch is really 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm going to just eyeball the pinch. But whenever you see it, if you're not sure with if you're a little shaky with your cooking measures, that's what it is. And a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Can you tell I like Trader Joe's? It's my happy place. Okay, I'm just going to level it like that. Here's another trick I like to use to level. You take the top of the spice bottle, and there you go. And then to that, a tablespoon of sugar. They call for superfine sugar. Now you can find that in stores. Domino's brand has like a glass of iced tea because it dissolves easy, like for simple syrup and that sort of thing. But actually, you can just run regular granulated sugar through the food processor, and that's fine. And I didn't even do that, and because I feel for this application it should be fine. And then to that, we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and really orange peel, like orange zest or lemon zest, would work beautifully. If you want to put a little amaretti, that would work very nice too. I'll just whip that up. Just whisk it all together. You see what a lovely batter comes together, and it's not a yeast risen donut, so you don't have to let it sit or roll it out. You're just going to spoon it right in to the pot of hot oil, and you can even put this in a pastry bag and do it sort of like the way you do a churro, squeeze some out, and then cut off the length you want. Okay, now we're gonna heat up the oil and see how things go. So I'm going to be filling a disposable Wilton pastry bag, and these are wonderful for so many things. I even use it to put caulk in to get a fine line on my air conditioner. I'm just going to try some in here, and some I'm going to make quenelles. And you're going to cut off about 1 inch. And you don't even have to use a tip on this because I want it plain, but you can use a large star tip. It's a very soft batter, and you just always squish it down, twist, and this is how you hold it. You hold it in this sort of view of your hand, and you squeeze gently always. You want to keep the air out. So let's test this and see how it's going. We're going to put a little bit of oil in. Now, usually I use a bigger pot, like a Dutch oven, but since I don't have that much batter, I just felt like using this today. The oil's not quite hot enough. You see it's bubbling, but it's not really up to where it needs to be. It should be about 350. And what you do is you put a carrot in, dry. Make sure it's dry. You never want to put anything that's wet with water into oil because it'll start spitting. Oil and water don't mix. And you want your frying oil to be 350. Now, normally the best type of oil to fry with is peanut oil because you can bring it up to a high temperature without it smoking. But I don't use peanut oil due to a family allergy, a family member's allergy. So I use regular canola oil, and it's nice and light, and it works fine. Oops, we have one floating. It looks like a little gnocchi. Now, I'll post the recipe link below, but I'll also post the changes I made to have it be gluten-free. 310, we're almost there. Now, the advantage of having oil at the proper temperature, things will brown nicely, and the food won't soak it up too much. A lot of people complain fried food's too greasy, but if you have it at the right temperature, it shouldn't absorb too much oil and be too dense. Okay, we're almost there. Oops. So usually we turn the stove a little bit past medium to get it to 350. Now, a rule in our house and in every house, never leave fried food unattended. It can be very dangerous if a grease fire breaks out. And we don't let little children do any sort of deep frying, or just very little children shouldn't be doing anything with the stove. And if you have a pair of safety goggles, it's worth wearing while you're frying. And we're there. Okay. So like I said, we're going to try 2 ways. We're going to do sticks and quenelles. So let's try one. Oops, actually that's more of a squiggle. See how nicely it rises to the top? And then when it gets brown enough, we'll flip it. Now, never ever overcrowd. And you can take a scoop and do like what they call quenelle, shape it, and we're going to put it in. Now this is a very rustic sort of dessert, so you don't have to worry about getting the perfect shape. People just enjoy it as is. And I think it might be time to see. We're going to a nice little brown squiggle. Almost looks like cheese puffs. Well, they are puffy ricotta cheese. Okay. That's a little bit lighter. Okay, now we see how to fry it. And a batter. Okay, I'm ready to take it out. Now, I usually use like what I call a transfer plate. I hold the fried food over it to transfer it over here. If you have room on the counter, like right next to the stove, then you don't really need it. But it does help save you from some drips. Now, I use a rack over a lined baking pan. So that way the extra grease drips down as opposed to putting it right on the paper towel. In which case, it'll just sort of sit in its own grease. And it yields a really nice crispy result. Now these you want to actually put it pretty straight away, let the oil drip off, and then you're going to put it in a bag that has cinnamon and powdered sugar. You can use regular granulated sugar as well, whatever you prefer. You can give it a shake. Nice and fresh. I'll do some of the smaller ones. Okay, and we have some nice Italian treats. And I found these little squirt bottles. They were actually less than 50 cents. And I have one with chocolate. You can do a little squiggle and let people dip as they like. And one with a caramel sauce. And you have a very nice dessert for the holiday.